What's up, you guys? It's your boy. Now, I wasn't planning on doing anything for the Pokemon Direct today. I really wasn't. I thought that it would just be, I don't know, Sinnoh remakes or something like that. And I haven't been into Pokemon for a little while, and I haven't done any Pokemon content here on the channel in a little while. But today's Direct was just so juicy that I had to do something about it. So obviously, today we had a Nintendo Pokemon Direct, which unveiled the new games Pokemon Sword and Shield. So I figured it'd be a fantastic time to go ahead and do a couple of theories about the new games, because it's set, from what I can see, in a UK-based region. And who's from the UK that you know that plays Pokemon? I wonder. Also, they put me in the game. I don't know if you saw. I'm going to put a picture up right now of me in the game. Just want you guys to know. Love that, Nintendo. Love that, Game Freak. I see what you're doing. Hit me up next time. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and I guess jump into it. So the first theory that I have for this new Gen 8 region is that there's going to be a super offensive legend and there's going to be a super defensive legend. Now, this comes in correlation with the game's title, Sword and Shield. Here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, a sword is a tool used for offense, and a shield is a tool used for defense. So I'm thinking that maybe depending on whichever game you get, the legend that you get with that game will either have, let's say, base 160 attack or base 160 defense, much like Kyogre and Groudon have. I think Kyogre has base 160 special attack and 150 defense, and Groudon has 150 attack and 160 defense or something like that. I'd like it a little bit more if, instead of just whacking it like into even stats, like 150 into defense and 160 into attack, they would make it like, I don't know, 160 into both attack and special attack, and then maybe 110 into both of the defenses for the sword, and then reversed for the shield, maybe, is what I would like, but I don't know. And also, with this theory, I'm going to go ahead and throw in there that because this is the UK, because we have a sword and because we have a shield, I'm thinking, what do people associate with the UK? Well, knights. Knights is a good thing, right? Like fairy tales, like St. George killing the dragon, like King Arthur and the Sword and Stone. So probably with these two legends being the title legends for the games, the third legend, much like Rayquaza, much like Giratina, will be a dragon type. Shocker, right? The new games will have a dragon type third legend, but I figure this is probably a good idea, and probably something that they would put in, regardless of the past dragon types. It fits with the theme. It fits with the story of this is based in England and the surrounding countries, and England has a very deep history with knights and fairy tales, so this is probably something that I think will be put in the game, but it's a theory. What are you gonna do? Anyway, next up, theory number 2. The little wall thing that is right above that little factory tower looking place, I think that's going to be more or less where England and Scotland separate. And in addition to that, I think that you're not going to be able to go straight through. So, for those of you that don't know the UK is split into 4 different countries. There's England and Scotland. Scotland's above England. Wales is to the left of England. It's to the west. And then you have Northern Ireland further off. Now, in this region, the Galar region, we don't see Wales and we don't see Ireland at all. Which is fine, because we'll get to that. But there is a wall, a big wall separating the snowy part of the region from the grassy part of the region. Scotland is known, at least for the very, very north part of Scotland, not so much in the southern or middle parts, for having mountains. It's one of the few places in the UK that has mountains with snow on them. So I think that upwards part, both geographically and physically, is more related to Scotland. I'm sad that there's no Loch Ness, but what are you going to do? And then that brings us to the little wall thing here, which is... it's difficult to look at. It has some sort of hole in the bottom, which I'm guessing is for the train. But you can't get around the wall, necessarily, so what I think you're going to have to do is when you go upwards to the north of the region, because that's where the final bit will be, it's pretty clear, I think that you're going to have to go around, probably to the right, and then go past it, into the snow, and then back around down, and then to the left into that factory building. Now, if I had to guess, I'd say that's probably the Elite Four building. And the building just to the north of that, maybe a battle frontier, or something else. It's difficult to say at this point, just from visuals. But it would be cool if it was. If not, then I would maybe speculate an evil team building. But I don't think that's it. I think that'll be a different location on the map. But speculation from now. It's clearly taking inspiration from the Industrial Age, which was in the late 1800s. Because it's that sort of factory, steam, coal building, which we did have in England. But it looks like a cool little building, and I think that that's probably where the Elite Four will be, and then you'll take the train further up and do past there. But yeah, that's a theory. It's not a very strong one right now, but what are you gonna do? Right, next theory. So the next theory that I have is to do with the train. So the train, if you look closely on the map, and I don't know if anyone's done this yet, but I'm deep delving into this. So the train starts at the very, very bottom of the map, and you can see tracks going all the way up to the very, very tippity top of the map. In that big building up there with the cityscape. It's clearly London, and I'll get to that soon. So here's my theory about the train. You'll be able to catch the train, and the train will stop at stations and wait for key intervals in the story. So what I mean by that is you'll be able to take the train up to a point, and then the train will stop and you can't ride it any further until you complete story aspects. Sort of like, what's the mountain in Hoenn with the cable car? Is it Mount Pyre? No. That's the ghost one. Whatever the one in Hoenn is where Archie and Maxie try and use the volcano, where you have to get the cable car up and down. I think the train will be similar to that, but much, much more integrated into the story. And originally I was thinking, well, it's not going to be that. The train will just be useful when you hit the very, very top of the map, and then you can ride it all the way back down to visit various locations. But that disregards the rules of Fly. So I don't think it's going to be that. I think you can just be able to ride the train up and probably back down when you've hit certain checkpoints and locations. So for example, when you hit this big reddish city-like town, I think you'll be able to ride the train back down to other points. That'd be a cool little idea. I would like it if that were to happen, because it would allow you to reach more locations without needing Fly early game. But we shall see. Who knows? Okay, next theory. So the next theory that I have, which is theory number 4, I think, of 5, is that this little purple building by the lake is going to be the Professor's Lab. So we saw this in the trailer a little bit. It's like a purple building with vines growing up the side, and it's got a conservatory. I'll put a picture up so that everyone knows what I'm talking about. But it looks like I had two trains of thought with this. I either thought that it would be the Professor's Lab or like an old chateau, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's very, very early on in the game, just based on, you know, where it is geographically on this map, and also the design of it looks more like just a normal cottage that we have back in the countryside in England. You see these all the time back home. And we saw in the inside of the Professor's Lab, I think, in the trailer, what we think is the inside of the Professor's Lab. And I think it will match the outside. From what I can see, it looks similarish to what I would imagine the inside to be. So I think that's... I'm willing to bet 75% that that's the professor's lab. And in keeping with that, you know, we're going to have a new professor, obviously, so I'm starting to think of what the professor's name might be. I'd like it if it were a female professor, because we don't have so many female professors compared to males. And obviously in keeping with the trend of naming them after trees in the region, because that's what they did with X and Y, and that's what they did with Sun and Moon, with Sycamore being a French tree, and Kukui being a Hawaiian tree. It's probably going to be an English tree, or a British tree, so I'm thinking maybe Professor Holly, or Professor Yu. I don't know what else. Maybe Professor Maple, because we haven't had a Professor Maple yet. But I feel like if they're going to do a Professor Maple, then that has to be for a Canadian region. I don't know. Just seems fitting, doesn't it? But that's the next theory. That's the next one that I got. And then we're going on to the last one, which is... So some people have been speculating that this town in the middle with the red brick aesthetic and the walls... some people have been suspecting that that's London. That that's a London-inspired town. And I'm here to tell you, it ain't, son. The town at the top with the city, that's London. Because you can see it has the London Eye and Big Ben. Definitely a London-inspired city, and also because it has the big city, like, blocks of flats and office buildings and stuff like that. That red one is Birmingham. For those of you that don't know, Birmingham is sort of like England's second city. It's in the middle of the country, and there's a university there called the University of Birmingham, which has a clock tower very, very similar to that. And I'll post a picture if I remember to do it. But I suspect that's probably Birmingham, and that also ties in to how it's more brick and red than the sort of brown, stony, grey cityscape of the top region there, which is... I can't suspect what they are at the moment. If I had to guess, I'd say that top part is either going to be an Elite Four based area, or maybe like a Battle Frontier type thing. But I don't know, really. And then this middle area is probably going to be like the area of the 3rd or 4th gym. And also like a major city point. So probably I'm thinking like Slateport, or Lily Cove for Hoenn. Or, gee, I don't know, maybe like, what was the, like Saffron City in Kanto. It's probably going to be something like that. I suspect there's going to be a decent amount of story that takes place there, and whatever. And I'll throw in a bonus theory as well, just for the, because we've done 5 theories so far, I'll throw in a bonus one. So obviously, in this map, we don't see Wales, we don't see Ireland, but we see England and Scotland. There are little islands off to the sides of the map. There's just 2 that I can see. There's one by the little dock area as well, but I don't think that's anything important. And then there's one big one down at the bottom, which is, again, probably not so important. So here's what I'm thinking for this. Obviously with Legends, on the topic of legendary Pokemon, they tend to not be in the main region, or they tend to be secluded. So what I'm thinking is, there will be islands off to the side that maybe aren't released yet, that will look something like Northern Ireland, or Wales, and will also maybe have a Stonehenge-esque area that will unlock a certain legend. Again, what I'm thinking is probably that the Sword and Shield legends will be somewhere in this region that you will have to go and unlock, maybe to that island off to the right. And then there will be the 3rd legend, which will be a dragon type, which will probably be unlocked in an area like Stonehenge, but not in the main island. Not in the main region, it will be off to a separate island. And you'll go off and unlock it, and it'll come through the ground or something, I don't know. That's too much. But anyway, those are my theories just from looking at the map. I'm looking at a few screenshots that we have from the game trailer, so... Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any different theories, or if you want to correct any of mine. Like I say, it's 11:50. You know, the trailer came out 2 hours ago. There's only so much speculation I can do in that time. But anyway, let me know what you think, and if you like the video, be sure to click the like button, because it tells me that I'm doing a good job, and that you guys want to see more. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.